gospel is written in the 24th chapter of Luke, beginning at the 13th verse. Now, that same day, two of them were going to a village called Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem. They were talking with each other about everything that would happen. And as they talked and discussed these things with each other, Jesus came and walked along with them. But they were kept from recognizing him. He asked them, "What are you discussing together as you walk along?" They stood still, their faces downcast. One of them, named Cleopas, asked him, "Are you the only visitor to Jerusalem and not know the things that have happened here in these days?" "What things?" he asked. "About Jesus of Nazareth," they replied. "He was a prophet, powerful in word and deed before God and all the people. The chief priests and our rulers handed him over to be sentenced to death. They crucified him. But we had hoped that he was the one who was going to redeem Israel. And what is more, it is the third day since all this took place. In addition, some of our women amazed us. They went to the tomb early this morning, but didn't find his body. They came and told us that they had been seeing a vision of angels who said he was alive. Then some of our companions went to the tomb and found it just as the women had said, but him they did not see." He said to them, "How foolish you are, and how slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Did not the Christ have to suffer these things and then enter into glory?" And beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he explained to them what he said in all the scriptures concerning himself. As they approached the village to which they were going, Jesus acted as if he was going farther. But they urged him strongly, "Stay with us, for it is nearly evening. The day is almost over." So he went in to stay with them. When he was at table with them, he took bread, gave thanks, broke it, and began to give it to them. Then their eyes were opened, and they recognized him from the sight. They asked each other, "Were not our hearts burning within us while he talked with us on the road and opened the scripture to us?" They got up and returned at once to Jerusalem. There they found the 11 and those with them assembled together and saying, "It is true, the Lord has risen and has appeared to Simon." Then the two told what had happened on the way and how Jesus was recognized by them when he broke the bread. And this is the gospel of the Lord. I find it especially touching, not being a contemplative, actually being pretty bad at it, that they wanted to just be with him. "Come, stay with us. It's evening." And it really did happen. Wish I did more of that. Do you? Well, if not that, at least I could say, and I think you can say too, that you've known the Lord. Somehow you've known that there are those moments in your life that God has just been so evident and so loving and you really know the Lord, and you really have been with Jesus, because Jesus is the human face of God, and you've been with God, God in a very human way. So let us just take another look at this lovely author, forward day by day. Okay, I'm cheating. I have to tell you his name, and I had to look it up. Ken Woodley. But he is great. He's the April author. I'll always think of the road to Emmaus as the freeway to every corner of the universe. The moment when Jesus traveled down its dusty turnings, there was no limit to where it could go. All of the barricades are gone. The way to eternity is open. Thankfully, every road can lead to Emmaus. When we invite Jesus to travel its length and breadth beside us, and that road can go everywhere. Most especially, it can lead me to those who speak differently than I do, and look differently, and believe differently, vote differently. No, the only road hazard is me. I don't know what you make of that. I think I'm old enough to know what he's talking about. Oh boy. I remember Chaplain. He met many inmates at Bedford Hills Correctional Facility. Famous place. I knew it because I was one of his people who was an intern there at times. And a woman came over and to him in his office while I was there and said, "Oh, Chaplain Baker, I'm born again." At which point he said, "Well, why don't you let me tell you if you're born again?" Which was a way of saying, no, it's not that easy. Yeah, you've seen the Lord, but there are road hazards, lots of road hazards, lots. And I'm willing to be there to help you to get through them. I'm called a therapist. Oh boy, I've needed lots of therapy in my time. Some of it very informal. People like you who say things like, "Mike, you really blew it this Sunday." We do travel the road, though, don't we? And I think a lot of us have come a long way. That's what I love about you. I've seen a lot of how far you've come, and I sure don't have to bring rose hazards up to you a lot of the time because you've already gotten through them. I'm getting through them. Even coronavirus. Thank God that you're who you are in the church and that we have community. You know, it's the small churches that will lead the way in many ways in our time because they understand the importance of an extended family. People need that, and people understand that. If young people don't understand religion or the need for it, they sure understand that. So let's keep on keeping on. Yes, I first met the Lord along the way the first time when I was sort of lost. And I heard a little voice inside me that said, "Oh, don't worry, I can do something with you." You ever heard that voice? I'll bet you've heard it lots of times. I need to hear it every day. Thank God for Rita. I'm doing something now. First Peter. You heard from him, didn't you? Prepare your minds for action. Be self controlled. Set your hope fully on the grace to be given you when Jesus Christ is revealed. As obedient children, do not conform to the evil desires you had when you lived in ignorance. But just as he who called you is holy, so be holy in all that you do. For it is written, "Be holy because I am holy." It's magnificent. Scary, but magnificent. Let's have the hope of that, because people need that from us, and we're going to give it to them, aren't we? This is a hard time, but those of us who see God working find it a very exciting time too. And joy can break through every single day, even when it looks as though it's a crummy day. So let's stay with it. Now, I don't know if you want to try to pick up a hymnal or if you have one around with you, but I'm sick of not singing, just as I'm sick of not being in church. You heard the psalm, didn't you? Here it is again. How shall I repay the Lord for all the good things he has done for me? I will lift up the cup of salvation and call upon the name of the Lord. I will fulfill my vows to the Lord in the presence of all his people. Darn it! Wish I were in church. Thank God for Zoom. At least we can do something with each other. So, okay, I'm going to sing a little bit, and I'm going to pretend you're singing too. Happens to be, this is the one that got into my head just lately. I get in my head from time to time. It's hymn 625. Here we go. Ye saints who toil below, adore your heavenly King. And onward as ye go, some joyful anthem sing. Take what he gives, and praise him still through good or ill, whoever lives. My soul, bear thou thy part, triumph in God above, and with a well-tuned heart sing thou the songs of love. Let all thy days till life shall end, whate'er he send, be filled with praise. Let's do it. Thank you for spending the time.